You don't get dry in that?
No, no. I don't get any difference between these two.
Dude, I feel like I could do like the thing and it...
That's hilarious.
Am I nuts?
That's funny. Welcome to Whiskey and SV. I'm your host Sam, and tonight we're going to be drinking some Maker's Mark. And we are joined by our esteemed guest, Ralph.
Thank you for having me again.
Great, Ralph.
Thrilled to be here.
Thank you. Cool. So the purpose of tonight's episode is for us to see how the newly released, well, I guess not that newly released now, it's been a few months.
The latest Cellar
The
Age,
latest Cellar Aged, Maker's Mark Cellar Aged compares to the old one, and more importantly, to the current available, much cheaper version, Maker's Mark release. That is a Costco special.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's called the Lost Recipe Mocha.
Yeah.
And why is it called the Lost Recipe?
I suppose because they don't do that particular finishing stave anymore. I think that's what it was.
I think
right?
It's like a combination of staves, that no one ever picked.
Yeah. They don't do this expression anymore, so they brought it back.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's do it. I think we'll go, from old one to the newer one to the cheaper one.
Okay.
And we'll watch a replay to make sure we didn't mess this one up.
Bear with us. It's been we've had a few.
Right.
Do you have any memory of any of them?
No, it's been a while since I tried. Actually, I think I tried the Lost Recipe recently, but I just haven't spent much time with any of these. You'll note that the 2023 is, well enjoyed, but this is mostly sampled out, to be honest.
I had the 2023 once at the distillery.
Okay, just once.
Just one time. Okay. And I remember it not being my favorite from what I had that day.
I think the nose on these is like really amazing. The palate is just okay, is what I thought.
If memory serves, the 2023 was just a little too dry for me on the palate.
Okay.
So let's see.
All right, cheers.
Cheers, buddy. Thanks for having me.
So Maker's Mark is known to be a wheated whiskey, right?
It is.
Which
strictly wheated.
Typically has very lively, fruity type notes to it.
Very soft. Sometimes they lean mocha, coffee, that kind of thing. Yeah. It smells good.
This is very, very nice. Notes.
Very nice. Yeah. Nothing offensive about that.
Mm-hmm. This is a sort of a denser, darker note to me than the first one.
You think this is denser?
Yes.
I felt this was a little bit more muted.
Interesting. I definitely get a much deeper, sort of denser notes, syrupy notes to this.
I see.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Very similar, though. I mean, if you tell me right now, do you have a preference between these two?
One to me is coming off with those coffee mocha grounds, like mocha coffee grounds, that kind of thing. So
you're probably thinking, is this?
It could be Lost Recipe. It could be. Yeah.
It's literally called mocha. So.
Oh, that's right. I completely forgot about that.
To me, this is now a little bit more
flat. Yeah.
Compared to the other two.
So I'm literally last, second, and first for me right now, just on the nose.
For me, nose-wise, I would say this is last. This is first, and this is second, but very close.
So we're split on these two here.
Yes. Yeah.
But we agree on this one.
Clearly.
Shall we start with this one then? Should we start from the right?
Yeah, sure.
Cheers, bud.
I actually get a lot of coffee notes on there. Coffee and dark chocolate. It's very nice. It's very enjoyable to me.
That one to me is just okay. There's nothing wrong with it.
I liked it a lot.
You really like that one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I get past the sweet sort of like bourbon notes.
Sure.
I just get this like dark chocolate and coffee notes that are very enjoyable to me.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This one to me is just coming off stereotypical wheated bourbon.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I think my perception of wheated bourbons is a bit skewed because the first wheated bourbons I actually had were Larceny, which is not at all like a typical wheated bourbon.
Yeah, that's very.
And I get a little bit of a bitterness in those.
Okay.
And the bitterness is not a oak bitterness; it's just like what I perceive to be
right.
wheat bitterness. And wheat is not supposed to be bitter, right? It's supposed to be something that makes
very
it
soft, very sweet,
yes, exactly.
Cereal grain. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. But to me, this is not a typical wheat whiskey.
I would agree with that. I actually would agree. This one comes off a little bit spicier. I see your coffee notes that you're getting, but this is to me just coming off as just good. Mm-hmm. This is good. Nothing wrong.
It's a little bit grainy towards the end.
Yeah, it is.
Which makes me think it's probably younger than. Oh, I haven't tried the other two, but the nose seems younger.
It does. This one definitely seems like the less interesting of the bunch, I would say. At least on the nose.
Let's try the palate on the other ones.
I will say, though, I did already nose this one here, and to me, on the nose is already better. Palate, I don't know.
Yeah, it's way better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's far more interesting to me.
Yeah. It's much more oak, though.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly, like, more aged.
There is a little bit of age to it. A little spicier, too.
The oak is getting a little bit on the side of a little bit too much to me.
Oh, you think it might be slightly over oaked?
A little bit. And I'll tell you why. Because it's not the same. Like, if you think about the Russell's 15,
sure,
it's very oaked, but the oak is very, very sweet. I don't think this is necessarily sweet oak. I feel like it wasn't charred enough.
I see.
So you're getting more of the sort of new wood sort of influences.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
I don't know how to explain that, but if you just think about, like, if you charred the barrel a lot, and
right.
lots of, like, vanilla and caramel.
Like extracting all the flavors from that barrel.
Yeah.
This one is doing...
necessarily that.
Okay.
Yeah. Although it's pretty dark.
It is. Actually, I didn't even notice because of the cuts here, but we agreed that this is already a step up from this one.
Definitely. 100%, yeah.
And I have no idea which one is which, and I'm trying not to guess. I'm just going...
There is a little bit of also...
It's just richer. It's denser.
There's some sharp notes there.
There are.
Very, very small amount, but there are some sharp notes.
I'm going to do one more sip and I'll move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so far, no contest. I think definitely this is better.
This one is already... Yeah.
That's
good.
Yeah.
That's really, really good. I agree with everything you're saying. A lot of what's on the nose, it shows up on the palate, which is nice. Mm-hmm. I like that. This one also has a little bit of spiciness that this one doesn't have. This one has spice, but in a way of just proof, if that makes any sense. I can tell that this is like, above 100 and like 10-ish proof. And it's coming across that way. Whereas this one has spice, but from the actual barrel. Like I can actually taste like barrel spice from this one, which I like, Mm-hmm. But I still think that on the nose from memory, I really like this one, so I'd be interested.
So going back to this, I'm getting some vegetal, sort of like grassy notes, which is...
That's actually very common with Maker's Mark.
Actually, now going back to this, I'm getting it as well.
Yeah, for me...
Not from this, though. This is clearly the outlier. Yeah. These two are very similar.
This one, to me... to comment on your grass note, that is kind of typical with Maker's Mark products. It is a little grassy. Could be because of that wheat mash bill. Just giving this a nose already, this is light years better than both of them. I agree where this is last. This one is a step up from glass number, whatever this one is here.
Yep.
This one to me is all day better.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, these two so far on the nose have been the same. Now I'm gonna try the palate on this.
See, on the nose, I prefer the glass to my left. On the nose,
it's very hard for me to distinguish between these two.
I think I know which one that is.
I would hope that these two are both the MMCAs, and this is the other one because there's a continuity here, at least for me.
Okay.
This is completely different profile. And honestly, these are more complex. They have different oaks. They have different, like, sort of characteristics that are close to get together. This is like an outlier. So
these two are definitely far more interesting. Mm-hmm. I had a sip of water before having the glass to my far left, it was very, very dry. And it's what I remember from Cellar Age 2023. Mm-hmm. But I do really like the nose on this one. Mm-hmm. I am really hoping that this is Lost Recipe.
I don't think so.
I could be wrong. I'm saying I'm hoping that it is.
If it is, then that's crazy because this is like a third of the price of.
That's why I'm hoping. that's why my hopes are high. Sure. I'm gonna do one more sip of this one here. If it stays very, very dry,
I'm gonna add honestly some water to all of these because I feel like I just need them to open up a little bit more.
Okay. You let me know how that goes.
3 drops. Which is a little bit more than usual, but I think these are high proof, so they can take a little bit more water, hopefully.
2023 is significantly drier, which is what I remember not loving about it when I had it. Yeah, it's very, very dry.
I significantly prefer this to the other two.
To the rest?
Yes.
Okay. I think I'm here.
This is very, very inferior compared to the other two.
This is a slightly boring. I do think that this one here is a little.
I just feel like it didn't have enough char in it.
Yeah, I agree.
And it doesn't have the same sweetness that I enjoy in a bourbon.
And also, if you go back on the nose, it is a little sharp. It's a little sharper on the nose for sure. Mm-hmm. I agree where this is in last place for me. See, I love the nose on this one, but I don't like that it is very, very dry. And that to me is something that I don't love in whiskey. Mm-hmm. There are some exceptions. Whereas this one seems to be a little bit more well-rounded. But I know why you prefer this one. I totally see that. Mm-hmm. But this one here, to me, I think might be the more well-rounded one. Might be a long shot, but I'm really hoping that it's the Lost Recipe.
Interesting.
I hope. I'm really, really hoping. But if I were to rank these right now, just from tasting them, this would be first, second, and third. Yeah, first, second, and third. This definitely is the inferior one.
Yeah.
So last place for both of us.
Yeah, number 3.
Which is?
We did 1, 2, 3, right? So if it's 3, then it's got to be the Lost Recipe.
Is it?
Yes.
Are we sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the Lost Recipe.
Darn it.
Yeah, so Lost Recipe is the worst one.
Okay.
Yeah. This is going to be number 2. So this is the 2024.
2024.
Yep. And this is number 1.
2023.
Yeah. So basically, the worst one, in our opinion, is
Lost
the Lost
Recipe. Yeah.
At least, I'm glad that's given how much money more than
sure, yeah. Sure, yeah.
2024 to me was not that much worse than 2023. For you, I think you prefer the 2024.
I prefer the 24 only because it's not dry. The 23 for me was very dry, and again, as soon as I got that dry moisture is what reminded me of when I had it, and that is what took me away from it. They are both really, really good, but I did have a slight preference to the 2024.
For me, it was slight as well. So yeah. I think our good friend Randy, who gave me the 24 sample, had a significant preference for the 23.
Okay.
For me, honestly, that's it's not a significant preference. I think they are both very good.
Listen, on the nose, they're both very good. I'm going to try the 23 one more time because I haven't had water in a while.
I actually find this more drying, to be honest. I found the 24 more drying.
That is so dry. The 23 for me. That is so dry to me.
Is this older or younger, the second release?
24 is a slightly older by like a year. Older. Literally by like a year. I think that one is 12 and 13, and that's like 13, 14 if I'm...
This is 12 and 13. The other one was, I think, 11.
11 and 12. Yeah, that's what it is, yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, it is what it is. I think, to me, honestly, for all the hate that the second release got, I think it's not that bad. I think it's pretty good. And for you, I think you prefer it, so...
Did it get a ton of hate?
Yeah.
Did it really?
It got a lot of hate.
Let me have it one more time, because I had the 23, and it is dry. Yeah, I prefer the 24. But again, we're talking marginally. We're splitting hairs here. The only reason...
Between these two, right? But when you go to Lost Recipe, we're not splitting hairs.
No. This one is a clear...
This is clearly
yeah.
inferior.
It is. Yeah. But, I've had this on its own, and it's really good.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So if you have this on its own, you're not going to have a bad time.
Like yeah.
Exactly. To me, if you like really dry whiskeys, you're going to like the 23. But if you like a little bit softer, a little bit rounder, even though I think the 24 is a higher ABV, you're going to prefer the 24. I just am I'm just not a big fan of really dry whiskey. Where it sucks the moisture out of your mouth.
Right.
That kind of takes me out of it. But they're both really good. You're not going to be disappointed with it. No. Would I pay $300 for it? Probably not. But,
probably not. But yeah. I think if you go through SFO, you can probably pick this up at $160.
Really?
Yeah.
Got to book a ticket.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
but you can't go to Canada or Mexico. You got to go outside of North America. If you go outside of North America, you go through Terminal 3.
Okay.
Yeah, then, so you got to spend, a good $700-800 to get out to Europe or something. But then, yes, you can pick that
Make a trip out of it and pick yourself up on Makers.
Yes.
Yeah, they're both very good. This is not bad either.
So I'm going to choose you with the 23.
24.
All right.
Cheers, bud.
Cheers, bud. Thank you for tuning in, and see you next time.
Cheers.